SHINESeniors project is about technology together with research on social behavioral studies to enable our elderlies to age in place. As we all know, in most countries in the world, the population is aging. It's the same in Singapore. There is a need for friends, neighbors, family members, and community care providers to be able to know remotely if something has happened to the elderly. So we have put in place sensors that are able to, in an unintrusive way, detect activity when the elderly is at home. In the unlikely event that the elderly falls or faints at home, then it would take the minimum amount of time for the caregivers or the family and friends to be notified and they can take appropriate action. There are two key things that this SHINESeniors project addresses. First is the immediate response to events such as extended or prolonged non-activity when the elderly is at home, and emergency push buttons. And the second one would be to pick up their patterns of daily living, and from that pattern to see whether we can identify anomalies from that normal behavior, and using those as a trigger for care and intervention by the community care providers. The SHINESeniors project is being led by the SMU-TCS ICT Lab. TCS stands for Tata Consultancy Services. This project has to eventually benefit the elderly, and therefore the next steps would be to use the information derived from the technology to drive the appropriate care and intervention, and also using that to determine the impact through an assessment. There are a couple of immediate next steps. We started a small pilot to study the medication adherence, and also from there we are starting to observe interesting behavior about medication consumption of these elderly. In the long term, we would like to minimize the hospitalization visits and dependency on traditional healthcare personnel from the elderly. We're trying to move that away from the hospitals into the community, and the use of this technology as a key enabler for that to happen.